Good morning, traders. This is a live trade recap. I took 3 trades this morning during the pre-market right around 4 a.m. They were with SOS and EBON. I have them all on video. I'm going to show you exactly what happened. And one of them took about 3 hours to complete, but my plan forced me to stay in it because the price didn't hit my stop loss or my profit target. So let's see what happened. So as always, right around 4 a.m., I have Webull running, and as soon as I see the pre-market top gainers list refresh, I close it and I restart it. I'm trying to get to the point in this video where, I always select top gainers, pre-market, I click on all, and then I organize by volume. That's how I pick the stocks that I want to trade. So there I am clicking all, and then here I am organizing by volume, unlocking Webull. And then CCL is the highest volume stock being traded at this moment, which was right at 4 a.m. So it automatically goes on the list regardless of the float size. Then everything else below the number one stock being traded by volume, it has to be a low float stock. My definition, a lower float stock, so around 100 million shares or less. And so SOS was the only other one. Ford, I believe, was... I guess Ford was also a low float. So let's get to the trades now that you've seen how I picked the stocks. So this is this is SOS, which ended up being the very long trade of the day. And right now it's when I zoomed out with the 5-minute chart, it's too tricky to get to it on the video here because the video is so long, but when I zoomed out on the 5-minute chart, you could see that this was a new high for the aftermarket compared to the aftermarket, and that's my signal to look for an entry. And then my entry is always, once there's a pullback, I enter on the first 1-minute candle to make a new high, and that happened right away. In fact, it happened so fast while I was looking for other entries, I got in a little bit late, which was a big part of the reason why this trade took so long. So I think right now it was at kind of my ideal entry at that 868, and as soon as I noticed, I hit enter, or I hit my buy keys, my buy hotkey, and I got filled at 879. Unfortunately, I took a lot of slippage there, but most of that was my fault. You can see the spread was big at that moment, but most of that was my fault because I wasn't quite ready to enter, and that's going to happen sometimes. And if the stock has a good enough pattern, I'm willing to take a little bit of slippage because chances are it's going to work out. But we'll see what happened with this one. So here I am filled at 879. I think my ideal entry was around 868. Well, let's see right there. I'm over that candle. So that had a high of 865. So actually 866 is ideal. So that's about 13 cents higher than I wanted to get in. But also when I hit my buy keys, it was at 871. So it just so happened that, I took some slippage there. That does happen from time to time. So let's see what happens now. So my profit target is 967, which is 2R. It's 2 times my risk. My risk is the low of the previous candle, 1 cent below. So the difference between my entry price and 1 cent below the previous candle, that's 1R, and 2 times that is my 2R profit target. So that's where those come from. And let's see. So then EBON popped up. It was the number one volume traded stock at this point. It was no longer CCL. So, and they had a nice little run up here. So I was looking for a pattern, an entry. And I was pretty hopeful that a trade would work out with this because this was a really nice clean run. And oftentimes when you have a nice clean run up after that first pullback, it'll give you another nice clean run. So I'm still in this trade with SOS, and I'm looking for the entry on EBON. And again, I'm looking for a 1-minute candle to make a new high. So right now the high is 809, so 810 would have been my entry, but it never made it there. And then I guess I deleted one of the stock. I deleted that FORD. The volume was just falling way too low. So still looking for an entry here. That right there, you see that 1-minute candle that gapped up. see if I can get right to it. It's the only thing when you have a long video like this, it's very hard to scroll through. But here it is right there. So 785 is where I got filled. My ideal entry would have been 783, so it's very close to my ideal entry. And then here I am using my 2R calculator to figure out my profit target, which is 801. Let's just fast forward. So there you see my profit target, and it looks like the trade is going to go in my favor. It gets very close, 798, 3 cents from my profit target, and then it stops me out right there. So this was kind of weird. Let me see if I can show you this. Let's see, this is one of these kind of like whippy candles, meaning that the price was very volatile while this candle was forming. And that's really due to the spread. And that happens sometimes. So the only thing you can do, when that happens is stick to your plan. And my plan is if it breaks this level that I have to stop out. It did. So I stopped out. Luckily, because it was so whippy, I actually got filled much higher than where my stop was. Oh, and this was at this time this morning, Webull was glitching pretty hard for whatever reason. And you see the orders took a long time to go through. That's very abnormal. I haven't really seen anything like that in a while, so I'm not sure what was going on. And then later on in the morning, it seemed to be working just fine. So, excuse me. So there you can see I got filled at 782, which was only 3 cents below my entry. So that was a very, very small loss. It was a very low risk trade anyway, like a 1% risk. So it wasn't going to be a big loss no matter what. And the setup was good enough. And then, my strategy is to keep taking entries as they present themselves, as long as the point A is not broken. And I'll show you what I mean by that really quick. So this is the A, B, C, D pattern. Here's A, B, and then this is C, right? So as long as C doesn't come below A, I can keep entering, with the hope that eventually I'll pick the right entry. So that first entry failed, and then it looks like I'm almost immediately was in the second entry. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was my first entry right there. Let's get to the second entry. Oh, did it already pass? Yeah, it did. I guess it was so quick. I'm trying to save you guys time scrolling, but it's really tough to do when these videos are so long. So here it comes right here, 788, because the high of this was 787, so that made a new high. This trade doesn't last very long at all, so just bear with me, and then we'll get to the SOS trade, which was the most interesting trade. So here, once again, using my 2R calculator. So I actually entered in the numbers backwards there. So 816 is my profit target this time, which would have been an even better trade than the first one had it worked out, because it would have given me a little bit more of a reward. But look what happened. Even before I could hit my sell order out there, this candle, jumped down. And again, this was, I think, a glitch, because look what happened. Webull was just glitching really bad at this time, and again, that doesn't normally happen. If that was normal, I would never trade it this time, and I always trade it this time. So that should tell you something. So there, once I saw that candle was a glitch, I tried to cancel that order, but the order, I'm sure what ended up happening is the order probably already filled, even though this thing was still here. So there, I get filled at 783. So again, 5 cents below. So in a way, the glitches helped me out, because my profit target wasn't hit, and it filled me much higher than my stop loss. Okay, so now let's get to the big trade of the day, which was SOS. You can see here we're only at 421, and this trade didn't end till after 7 a.m. So let's fast forward through most of this, because what ended up happening was, I don't know if you remember, but right here I got it marked. My profit target was 967. The after my entry, the stock only went to 937, which would have been my 2R target had I gotten filled exactly where I wanted. Sorry, I didn't mean to show that right away. But basically, I think my profit target would have been around 925 had I got the exact entry that I wanted. So this trade would have been over and done with in a couple of minutes, and I wouldn't have even taken those two Ebon trades because my plan says once I hit 2R with a trade, then I'm done for the day. So I would have been done at like 403. And that's really like the reason why I trade this way is because I want to get in and out quickly and then, go back to bed and then move on with my day later. But unfortunately, that didn't happen this morning. So you can see that this thing just kind of continued sideways. And, I pretty much sat here and watched it. I had other stuff going on in the background. I was working on my spreadsheet and watching YouTube videos and stuff. And just keeping an eye on this thing. But you can see where my stop loss was, and it never really came too close to it until about this time, which was around 6. Now here we are, like over 2 hours into this trade. And it came down and it found support around 850. I want to say too that back in the day, even a few months ago, I would have never stayed in this trade because I would have convinced myself that there's no way this trade is ever going to work out because, it had all these double tops. It was never able to break out through, the resistance that it established. So I would have predicted it as a failed trade. This trade is going to fail. Let me just get out, take my loss, whatever it is. But the way I trade now is no matter what, there's only two outcomes. Either the stock hits my stop loss and I stop out, or it hits my profit target. And whatever happens in between that, I don't care about. I don't care what the price action looks like. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to do that for the past 3 months. I've been recording data on that, showing that works. And only and I mean I've been following that to about 90% consistency, I'd say. But this month I've stuck to it 100% because I've told myself if I don't, I'm not going to let myself trade for the rest of the month. So here we go. Now this thing's starting to turn around. I was just watching my SPLG in the pre-market because I was bored doing some other things. But look, I mean, this is now it's coming up around 7 a.m. I figured what I thought was going to happen, but again, I wasn't going to do anything unless my stop loss was hit or my target was hit. I thought around 6 a.m. that other traders would come in that start trading at 6 a.m. and would see this thing jumped up a lot in the pre-market and they would sell off, take their profit. And I think a little, sell-off accounted to that for that drop to 850, but what ended up happening was it never went any lower than 850, and around 7 a.m. buyers came in very strongly. So let's fast forward through this. So there it hits 957, which is 10 cents shy of my target. And again, a few months ago, I probably would have said, that's close enough. Let me pull down my limit order and take it. But I have over 3 months of data now that shows that weak-handing stocks, not holding to my profit target, not taking or not waiting till they hit my stop, that's costing me money. And the only way that I'm going to be green in the long run is if I honor my profit target and my stop loss. And that's what happened today. This was, unfortunately a very long and arduous trade, but it was a great exercise in practicing my discipline and sticking to my plan, which is really all that matters. So here we are with like 30 seconds to go in this trade. It's at 960, or it went to 963. Right now it's at 960. My target is 967, which that was my original target from the very beginning of this trade. I never changed it. And there I get filled. So patience paid off. I would have preferred getting my ideal entry that I showed you earlier and being done with this trade in 3 minutes and having a little smaller P&L. But again, this is all about exercising this plan and this strategy and just proving to myself that I can do it 100% without fault. And that's what happened today. So, and for that reason, I am green on the day. 474, not a lot of money for sure, but again, that was only 6 shares that I was holding. So it's actually about a 10% return on the investment. Here is my spreadsheet. So the, excuse me, the cost of that trade was $52.74, and I made $5.26. I could show you that here in Webull as well. 526. Those 2 Ebon trades only amounted to a loss of 52 cents, and they probably would have been about $1 if I would have been filled at my actual stop, but still, the SOS trade would have more than made up for it. So with 2 failed trades and 1 winning trade, I'm in the green for the day, and definitely obviously in the green for the week, and up over 1730 for the month now. So we'll see if we can keep that going. Definitely have a nice little cushion where I could sustain a couple red days if that happens. But so far so good. So anyway, I hope this helped you guys. I think I showed you everything that I wanted to in this video. And hopefully, I mean, the lesson for this video is definitely to just stick to your plan and your strategy, because that's the only thing that made this trade work out. Obviously, my entry was a little, like a few seconds late, so that was a knock against the trade. But because I stuck to my plan and my strategy, I ended up green on it anyway. So that's the moral of the story. So always honor your profit targets, take your stop losses, and you should be green in the long run. Take care.